The Lacy cable tee is now done and ready for washing and blocking. So in this episode I will show you how I do it on this linen edition pure plant fiber yarn, and I will also show you how I do the before and after measurements. I guess you would not do so many measurements. It's because I'm a designer, so I need to know them all to get the design just right. So let's get started. Before starting the washing process, let's do some general observation. First of all, this tee seems very small, doesn't it? At least to me. It is made to fit me in a size XL. But the reason why it seems small is due to the rib pattern. So you will see that once we have washed this tee, it will widen up a lot. So if you think, well, this neckline here seems very small, don't be worried. Once you have blocked it and starting wearing it, it will widen up, and it will also get a bit lower. So I have calculated into the design the wear of the tee so that it fits when you start wearing it and not just once you have knitted it. That's important, of course. You can also see here the angle of the bust darts that I have applied and a bit of a waist shaping here. Let's have a look at one of the tees I have already blocked so you can see the difference already before we start washing. Let me just grab it here. If you have seen more tutorials, you would have seen it before. So as you can see here, you cannot see the purl stitch between the stripes, but they are easily visible here. And when you look at the I-cord edge here, you may see, well, would this widen up or be too narrow at my hips? Don't worry. Look at this one. It widens up along with the tee, so it fits just right. Because as I've probably told many times in these tutorials, this plant fiber yarn with linen content is not that elastic. Once you wear it, it will widen up to a certain extent and it will reach its natural state and not, how do we say, it will not go back to being just like wool is very elastic and finds its equilibrium. You can say for plant fiber yarn it's another equilibrium. It stays like this. Sorry if I'm like a potato in my mouth when trying to pronounce all these English words. I'm a Dane. All right. When washing a plant fiber yarn, you would usually the good thing about washing a plant fiber yarn is that you can wash it in a machine. However, the first time I do knitted plant fiber yarn project, I will always do it by hand so that I see how it reacts. And if when I have washed it by hand, I find that it is too big, I wash it in the machine and it will crimp a bit. So just like a woolen project, I will actually use a woolen soap here. I guess you can use any soap. And then I will soak it for 15 minutes and I will block it. We will look at it later. But before doing so, I will start doing the measurements, and I will most probably do more measurements than you would while doing your project, because I'm a designer, so I need to know it all. So let me just get started. My first measurement is cross chest, and I will do all the measurements and write them down and we can have an overall look. But this is my cross chest, so ×2, it's a circumference, bust circumference. And this is the cross waist measurement, so it's here where I have reduced one stripe in each side. So it's the cross chest circumference minus 2 stripes. I do the cross measurement at the I-cord hem. I do the cross back measurement here where the diagonal stripe ends. Now I move from the cross measurements to the length measurements, and I measure the yoke, and I do it on the back. It's the easiest way to start, excluding the I-cord V-neck band here, and then I use something to do the 90 degrees, and from the cast on stitches here at the underarm, and it is 25 centimeters. Then I measure the total length of the tee, excluding the I-cord band and the neck, but including the I-cord band here at the back, and it's almost 22 inches. Oh, it moved a bit. I will write it down here on the notepad or block here, paper. I measure the sleeve length from the underarm, including the I-cord band. I also measure the tee at the underarm from the underarm cast on, including the bottom I-cord hem. Now I measure the V-neck depth, and I include the I-cord band until before the I-cord band here at the center of the V. And you could say, how can you measure this? Because if you do like this, it will shorten. So the way I do it is that I fold the tee right here at this edge to have a reference when it is blocked. So we can see it just folds here, so before the seam. Last but not least, I measure the total length of the tee from below the I-cord edge here and including the edge at the bottom hem. So now I think I've done all the measurements for now. You will see that the tee is longer at the front piece because I added the bust darts, but when wearing it, it levels front and back. So yeah, well, for each of these sizes, you know, I make many for the models and so on, and also for testing, I do cable height measurements. So besides the measurements with the measurement tape, I add in the total number of cable heights here from the underarm to the hem, for the yoke and for the V and so on, so that I know what I did in the pattern, and I can also, instead of doing the measurements, do all the calculations in cable height repeats. That's much more easy. Now that all the measurements are done, I will start soaking the tee, and even though it's 100% plant fiber yarn, I will wash it in a woolen soap, and I will do a hand wash. And the reason being, then I know by gentle wash how this behaves. Yeah, well, maybe I should add that while the tee widens up during wash and blocking and wear, it will also shorten. So when it widens, it shortens in this 100% plant fiber yarn. And this means that I would highly recommend to work your tee a bit longer than you actually have your desired length, because in time it will shorten. And especially if you machine wash every time, in my experience, it will shorten more than if you do the hand wash. So yeah, just a little add-on here. The tee is now on the blocking mat, and as you saw from the photos before, doing the spin, I took out more water with the towel because my washing machine will not centrifuge or spin if it is too wet. Then yeah, it's technical about the rotations and so on, so it stops. So that's why I do it. I have now blocked the tee to measurements as per pattern, and as this is a size XL, I should have 116 centimeters or 45 3/4 of an inch in circumference. So that means that cross chest, it would be around 23 inches and 58 centimeters. So far so good. It works according to plan, and as you can see, when stretching and widening it up, it becomes shorter, just as expected. And you can see now this pearl line. So again, just like in the mohair edition, I don't think I need to use these blocking needles. I will just leave it be like this. So yeah, again, I have stretched the diagonal seam here. I have stretched the I-cord hem here. Don't stretch the neckline here. It is as it should be. So don't overstretch. And if you find that the sleeves are a bit too tight, you can stretch a bit here as well. It's depending on your desired length. My length is planned to go just below your biceps, so it's not that wide. There, I guess. So yeah, well, let's see what happens when it dries up. And I expect this to be a very tight fit with actually not so much ease for me, only 2 centimeters. So I'm trying it in different sizes to see what I like the best, and I think I will try to make one size bigger with the intended 10 centimeters of ease.